Segment 3, Gold and Black Live with Chris Peludat, Associate Athletic Director of Purdue Athletics, Marketing and Fan Experience. Purdue football has had unprecedented success really this year in terms of filling the stadium, and that has been a good thing. And obviously, men's basketball, women's basketball, anything that has to do with the environment that is going on for fans in stadiums. This is your guy, and Chris is hard to believe you've been, was it 12 years, right? You've been with that Purdue Athletics.
12 years, yes. My 13th season, but yeah, a little more than 12 years here.
Well, and it is, it's never, I'm sure, never a dull moment on that front in terms of, you know what, we're going to restart. I don't know why I got something in my throat here. Hang on, and we'll restart. It's a lesson. Don't eat almonds before you start talking here. Okay, we'll try again. Sorry about that.
No problem.
And again, I'll just cut it up. Segment 3, Gold and Black Live with Chris Peludat, Purdue's Associate Athletic Director, Marketing and Fan Experience. And Chris has been with Purdue Athletics for 12 years. And if you're a Purdue fan, and hopefully all of you that are watching are, and have been to football, volleyball, basketball, this is the guy that helps make it a great experience, but also a lot of planning and things that go into all of that. Chris, first, welcome, and thanks for taking the time for us a day before game day.
Hey, thanks for having me, Alan.
You look at and obviously Purdue men's basketball, that environment, and even in your time, and you got here and they were good in 2011. His program was in a good situation, and Matt Painter and company had taken it to a high level. A lot of excitement. But it seems to me, and I've been going to games since the building opened, that it's at a new level, and you keep it has to be some level of challenge to be able to continue to make it bigger and better. But are you feeling the same way, just in terms of that, not only the way the fans react, but just the experience of when you come into Mackey Arena?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. I tell everybody, I've been to a lot of basketball places. I haven't been to all basketball places, but there may be some places as good as Mackey Arena, but I don't think there's any place better than Mackey Arena to watch basketball. And so, a long tradition here. Obviously, fans have supported the program for, really the entire history, right? Realistically, Mackey's been around for 50-something years, and I think it's been full pretty much all of the time since. And since I've been here, it's been a lot of fun. There isn't any place I would rather be to watch basketball, and I think our job is really just to try to enhance. We don't want to change too much. It's an unbelievable setting, a great building. We have great fans, and so if we can enhance that a little bit, I think in some cases we've been able to do that. But I take very little credit for the atmosphere that Mackey creates, kind of on its own. But just an unbelievable environment, and it's humbling to be a part of that every season as it comes around.
Well, one thing that is good too with men's basketball, obviously the winning is good, sure. You've got guys there, Elliott Bloom, some others that think this way. I think they're an interesting group in terms of thinking about investing in fans, even when good times and bad times, because you hope, if you're a Purdue fan, this is always going to be at this level, but it may not be in the next 20 years, who knows?
Right.
But my point is that it's that philosophy of, we need to make this special, and yet make it really branded as Purdue. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, I think, and we've worked together, and Elliott is great to work with. And I think what we've really had success in doing since we've been here is really trying to bring to life the tradition that the program has, whether that be through, we started the bobbleheads, but it's not just a bobblehead. We've brought every person back, right? That's been able to come back. They've been back for that game, and building on those types of things. The Whose House, Our House, video that we started, 7-8 years ago. Again, just trying to build on the tradition that's there, the support that's there, the passion that's there, the success that's there, right? And so I think we've all kind of come together to try to help elevate that, and I think it shows, when you walk in the building.
You look at even Ryan Walters, the first thing he said in his first press conference, I think it was literally the first line, "I welcome all players back and all former players. And I think you're doing, I like that very much with football as well. It's even more of an emphasis on the tradition. The tradition may not be quite the same in football in terms of wins as men's basketball. I understand that. And even with what's going on with the women too, you've got a big event here this weekend. We're bringing back the 25-year anniversary of that team. But talk about in football too. You know, everybody's important. You've got you've got a big George Karlaftis this weekend, but you're paying really homage to the guys that have been there and been in the trenches.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously the history, the program has football and obviously all of our sports, but football in particular, there's a lot of great players that have played here. There may not be the same level of team success that other programs have, but obviously that we've had our moments and we hope to have more of those. But there's a long history of very impactful players, not just here, but at the next level as well. So trying to show how much they mean to the program, because and allow our fans, if we bring them back, allow them to see how much they meant to our fans, right? Because I think that's important. As you're a player, I think you see it, like you feel it. But you're busy, right? You're focused on trying to win games and do what you need to do. And you're 21 years old, but to be able to come back years down the road and have 60,000 people like give you an applause for your career you had here and what you meant to them when they came to games as kids or as students or parent, whatever it may be. I think that's important, and really just trying to build that connection, and keep that connection going, because that helps not only with our fan base, that also helps in recruiting, and when recruits come and see how our fans react to the players who came before them, that I definitely think that helps, in that situation. So trying to create that environment, that family feel, between our fans and players and coaches and everybody that kind of comes across and comes to our games is something that we've tried to really establish. Because that carries weight, that means something, whether, football, whether we go 12-0, hopefully we never go 0-12, but like if you have that connection, that buys you time, that buys you equity, that, whatever it is, you're a fan of Purdue through good times and bad. And I think our fans obviously shown that throughout the years. But if you don't have that connection, then it becomes a lot more about winning, and we all want to win. Nobody wants to win more than the players and coaches that are out there. But being able to establish that, so that it is about more than that is something that we try to focus on from a marketing end, as much as anything, because I think that is important.
Yeah, you can't control. You can't control.
I cannot.
Unless they raise your salary a heck of a lot more. They can't control.
Even then, I wasn't much of a player or a coach, so even with a bigger salary, I don't know that I could affect the wins and losses positively.
Yeah, the intimate part of it is also, I think, something you have going for you. Volleyball, certainly, that's a great venue. Yes, Dave Shondell would like to. I mean, maybe he'll put you up to this next year. That'll be a heck of a challenge if you can play a match in Ross-Age Stadium like Nebraska did. But the fact that you've got a venue that is full most of the time, men's basketball full most of the time, football, you've now got an enclosed venue. Talk about that challenge, but also what that I think can mean as a positive for fan experience, because Ross-Age Stadium's enclosed, and all remarks that I've heard have been very, very positive about the changes. But talk about that and your approach to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think the changes and the renovation has been a huge success. I mean, just the ability to walk all the way around the stadium. Yeah. It kind of resonated the first couple of times we were in there. They're like, "Hey, you haven't been able to do this before."
Yeah, probably easier from your standpoint. Yeah,
yeah. But I think it really just kind of, I don't want to say finishes it off, because obviously, there are further renovations that, we want to do and plan to do, down the road. But I think it kind of turns it into, it looks like more of a real stadium, I guess, now, like closing in that end, having the students down on that end. It was a topic of discussion for a long time about putting them on the south end, because they come from the south end of this towards, from campus anyway. So it's an easier entry process, for them there. And I think the comments that we've gotten back from the students, like they've really enjoyed the new setup and the new location. And I just think it does make it more intimate. It keeps some of the sound in, and we've taken our shots with a couple different areas with the tables, and featuring the train a little bit more than what we're able to do in previous versions of the stadium. So overall, I think it was a huge step in the right direction. Obviously, there'll be more things to come, but I think it's really just kind of finished it off. You walk in and be like, and now it's like, this is a cool place. Like it looks cool. You can kind of see the setup, and not that it wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible before, but it just kind of closes things off, finishes it off, and brings everybody a little closer together. So those student seats, like they are right on top, of the field. Like it's an unbelievable view there. But bringing them that close to the field has gone really well, and we're just excited for how it all came out. It was a massive project to try to get done in 8 months. And for the most part, it all got done. Still some things to come with the tunnel and that next year to really kind of give that a much better look and effect as the team takes the field, and that would just couldn't get done this year. Obviously, functionally it did, but the aesthetics of the tunnel will come in during the off season.
Because you've done something with the Mackey Arena tunnel as well. So is it more of a lights and things like that? I mean, in terms of things that you want to get finalized, if you care to share on it.
No, I mean, obviously the tunnel is viewable, and there's a lot of lights, thousands of lights in that tunnel, and it's pretty cool. We used it for the first time the other night. Right. We are wrapping up the project, but we are kind of connecting that experience from as the teams leave the locker room all the way up the ramp to the tunnel. So that work is ongoing right now, should be done in the next couple of weeks. So I think that will just create more of a mood. Fans will be able to see that on camera as the team leaves the locker room when they go in there, but more lights and effects as they walk up in there to culminate kind of in that new tunnel experience there. So and that's without getting into the sound system, is a tremendous improvement from years before. And so just a lot of work across our facilities, but obviously in our two largest facilities, there's been a lot of improvement over the last 12 months.
Yeah, it's I remember looking at Virginia Tech and the Enter Sandman, and that whole notion of, it's kind of like with the rock concert idea too. You watch them from the start as they come, and you build that emotion and build everything that running out of the tunnel, I think, is obviously in the world of college football or sports in general, is just such a big part of ones that do it well. Did you, when you guys plan, how do you take me through a little bit of how, and we talked a little bit about Elliott Bloom and men's basketball, but who do you sit down with? When you brainstorm, and there's got to be some of that goes on, and what can we do different? What have we seen other places that we like? What can we improve about? But take me through that typical process of when that goes on. Like, for example, football, when will you start working on 2024 in terms of the look and feel of what they're going to have in Ross-Ade Stadium?
Yeah, we'll start in December. So basically, kind of our plan with all of our sports, what we try to do at the end of a season. So within like 30 days of the end of a season, we compile kind of our marketing report. And so from our end of things, and we take into account, event management and concession sales and all of those different areas that kind of touch the game. But we put together a report that is basically like what worked, what was just okay, what didn't, right? So we kind of start there, going through those types of things, putting that together. Obviously, numbers, attendance, and revenue, all of that's a piece of it. But from an experience standpoint, like I said, we kind of break it down by kind of what we liked, what was just okay, and what can be better. So we start there, kind of self-audit. And then we'll have a meeting. We'll have a meeting with with the teams and their representative. Generally it's the operations, person that we meet with, and kind of go through there, the sport administrator, and we'll bring to the table some ideas for the next year. of like, we like to do this, or what do we think about this? And we'll start to have those conversations, like I said, within about 30 days of the end of a season. And then we go from there and start to put the plan to get together, whether it be advertising, promotions, or giveaways, or whatever it is. And, football, we generally like to have it buttoned up to some extent by, April-ish.
Mhm.
Basketball is a little different just because we get the schedule so much later. But we'll have a good plan for what we'll want to do by the start of the summer. But we won't put the puzzle completely together until we get the full schedule when that comes out in late August, early September. Like our t-shirt game we do at basketball. Like, well, we're going to do a t-shirt game. Well, we also want it to be on a a national broadcast game. So until we get a TV schedule, we don't know if it'll be this game or that game, right? So within that first 30 days of the season ending, we start to put it together, and then we'll touch base probably a couple months later with the sports to kind of finalize those and wrap it up. Like I said, some of that depending on the sports driven by when we get a schedule. But my philosophy on the marketing plan is, one, it's a living document. So just because it's in a plan doesn't mean we do it. Just because it isn't in a plan doesn't mean we don't do it. But it's more of a guide than it is, a Bible to some extent. So we use that. And it's just when we get to the season, it's about execution and not so much about, trying to do it on the fly. There will be things that come up that we'll want to take advantage of and do, and we absolutely do that. But if we're behind, it makes it harder to take advantage of things. A lot of that comes into the video or the social media graphics world. If we try to plan as much as we can, so we have time to take advantage of moments and opportunities, we want to be able to have the freedom to do that. So as much planning as we can get done before the season, that's what we want to do. So the season just is about executing.
Marley Thomas and Trevor Peters, both really good at what they do, in my opinion, at least when I watch it. And yet that's also a big part of setting the tone and setting that, kind of, we're used to, back when I was 20 years ago, none of this was all part of it, but now it is. And talk about the role of just kind of not only steering not from a promotions and marketing standpoint, but also just kind of, again, having that good host and having to be able to have it be again, you can't control what's going on in the field, but you can control how this whole thing flows. Talk about how that's all come to pass and how that's continued to evolve.
So it's changed obviously in the time we've been here, and we went that direction. Obviously, the pro teams have had hosts for a while, longer than we have, and so that's where we were taking notes and lessons of how to do it. And so you got to find kind of the right people. And I'll date myself, but Trevor was a student of ours.
Oh yeah.
Really at one point. And then we used him, and he stayed here locally, and obviously we kept to use him, and then he left, and fortunately he's been back. He always came back for football, but so we brought it in really just as a bit of a change of pace, during the game. So like our PA announcer Carson Tucker is, I think, the best there is. Like, he's unbelievable from an atmosphere standpoint. But we also we have a lot of reads. We have a lot of things that go on in the game. So being able to give a different sound, or like I said, a change of pace, also gives him a little bit of a break. So he's not reading everything, during the game, because he's got a special voice. But let's let him focus on the impact he can make, and not so much about whatever it is we might be doing, or this contest or that contest. And so being able to bring a host in to change it up, to have a little bit of fun, to be able to interact with who's on the court, I think is important. And Carson obviously was never able to do that. A PA guy is not able to do that. And then you got to find the right people. And I think, Trevor's been really good for us. And we brought Marley in a few years ago, and she's been great. Continues to get better, every game. And so we wouldn't do it if we didn't have the right people. But again, it's really just about trying to bring a little different feel to the end game, so you feel a little bit more engaged with, versus just kind of being talked to, from the PA standpoint. So that was kind of the genesis behind that idea, and we're fortunate to have the two we have. And we've helped develop there've been a couple of students, Trevor being one of them, but we also have another former student who's an anchor in St. Louis, and that doing things, started doing games with us here as a student. So it's fun to see them kind of grow and get opportunities as they leave and start their careers.
Yeah. All right. Wrapping things up, but I do want to look at you got to look towards the future. What's next in the world of fan experience? I mean, if you had a crystal ball and maybe unlimited funds, what would you like to do next, or what do you think is your next the next frontier for fans that attend these types of events?
Yeah, I don't like buzzwords, but I think it continues to be about, really just trying to engage, and get them involved, where it isn't just coming and watching the game. We have great venues for that, and they sell themselves, but being able to provide opportunities, that's always going to be there. And the medium at which you do that obviously continues to change, whether it's in person, social media, TV or otherwise. So trying to stay up on that, and what's coming, who knows? But NIL has an impact on things of adjusting, what we do, and how we do it with our players, on those ends. But continuing to be flexible, try new things, but don't go away from things that work. Like, basketball, we do a fan day every year, and it was a huge turnout, for us. We had thousands of people to come, meet our players, and that's important, right? And so trying to do those opportunities, and then balance when they come to a game. I tell people, I think our job from a marketing standpoint, if you boil it down, is we have to get as many people as we can to the game. Then hope they have a good time, entertain them while they're at the game so they want to come back, right? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And so how we get them to a game, yeah, maybe it's an ad that sells tickets or a TV commercial or whatever, but it also might be the opportunity to come on a Saturday and meet a football player, meet a basketball player, and go, hey, that was fun. Let's go watch them play, right? So trying to find ways to get people to engage so that they want to come support, because we have tremendous student athletes. They're great representatives of the university and the alumni, and so the more that we can expose people to who they are, you'd be hard pressed to not want to support them. And so trying to get as much as we can that opportunity out there for people to see that and be a part of that, I think only helps us have success on the court, off the court, and do what we can. So I don't know if that really answered your question. I mean, from a technology standpoint, there's always going to be something, that we'll do and try. But I think I'm a little old school. I think it really boils down to just trying to develop fans, give people a connection.
Yeah.
Our kids club is huge for us, because I truly believe that if you're a fan of a team as a kid, you will be as an adult.
Yeah.
And so let's start as early as we can to get kids around and involved. And I think that I really truly believe that trend. I grew up outside of St. Louis, and I had no choice but to be a Cardinals fan. And I wouldn't change it, for all the Cubs
they've
fans out there.
been pretty good
for all the Cubs fans that listen. I'm outnumbered
here.
But from that standpoint, it was ingrained, right? There's no choice in that, and that's what I think everybody wants our Purdue fans to be. May have a good year, great year, bad year, but in the end, we support Purdue and the Boilermakers, and we're going to wear the black and gold proudly, and be proud of the student athletes that are out there, and that's what it's really about. And so finding ways to enhance that, provide those opportunities, I think is our only job realistically.
Yeah, I think it's about connection and building personality. You've done a great job over the years too, with the videos and things that really make people feel like they know who Tommy Luce is, or whether he's really like that doesn't really matter. He's part of him, and that part, I think, is really what binds fans, and maybe makes it a little bit more win-loss agnostic. It doesn't totally, I get that. But,
we all want to win, but in the end, you also just you want to have some fun too, and hopefully when winning comes along, that's everybody's goal.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for your time. I enjoyed it as always informative. We enjoy watching, and the Purdue fans that know what they're looking for can watch him scurrying around. At least at Mackey, I see him always. Yeah. You got to work and you got to pay attention, and you got to make sure that the trains are running on time in your business, and that's not always easy. But thanks again. Good luck tomorrow, and looks like it's going to be a nice day for football. That's a good thing, and really impressive in my view is the fact that that game was, at least as of this recording, was 2,000, only a couple thousand tickets left. That's a good sign. Yeah. I think that you're looking at great crowds, and despite the record currently, that means that it's been really, really good. And that's
fan support's been great, and we hope that continues. Coach Walters is on the right path. Obviously, nobody expected to be where we are, but I don't think we'll be there long with what he's doing with the program. And so we appreciate the fans coming out and the numbers they're coming out, and we hope that continues the rest of this year and into next.
All right, sounds great. We want to thank Triple X on the hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. State Farm agent Trent Johnson and the good folks at WLFI, of course, Gordon Jackson and Mary, also for helping us in getting this to fruition. We'll be back next week as well, leading into the Northwestern football game next Friday with another show. I want to thank Conzo Martin also for joining us for a couple segments. Really great interview. We appreciated him as well. So to have a great rest of your weekend all. Chris, thanks again. And we'll see you next week on Gold and Black Live. If I hit the thing right, I'll cut this all out. I can't.